In today's video, I'm going to show you how to shoot a slow motion footage and what settings to use using the Sony A7S III. So let's get started. What's good, fellow creators? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark. Thanks for hanging out with me on another video. Now, there are two ways that you can shoot a slow motion footage on your Sony A7S III. The first one is using the S&Q mode, which means slow and quick. This basically means that you can shoot a slow motion footage in camera without using any editing software like Premiere Pro. Now, I actually did a video explaining what an S&Q mode is and what settings to use. So if you're interested, you could check out the card right here. So this pretty much is the settings that I use when I want to use an S&Q mode to slow down a footage. So the first thing that you're going to do is go to Menu, Shooting Menu, and then go to Image Quality and S&Q Settings. Now, the record frame rate is basically your timeline, and I usually set this on a 24p. Then after that, go into S&Q frame rate, and I choose 120 frames per second. And after that, I go to record settings and choose the highest 10-bit. Now, what you want to do when you're using the S&Q mode is to have proper exposure. And to do this, you have to have a manual exposure. Now, there are different types of options for this, but usually if you want to be in control of the exposure, I usually choose manual exposure. Now, to get there, what you need to do is go to Menu, go to Shooting Menu, and then go to Shooting Mode, S&Q Exposure Mode, and go to Manual. Now, after setting this into Manual, what you need to do is change your shutter speed. So basically, the rule of thumb is you double your shutter speed from your frame rate. So for this example, we're actually using 120 frames per second. So I have to double my shutter speed to 1 to 250th of a second. Now with this setting, it will give that video a natural blur. Now, after that, you could adjust your aperture and ISO to whatever exposure you want your video to be. And also, just to let you guys know that when you use the S&Q mode to slow down a footage, you're not capturing any audio. Now, the second option to slow down a footage is slowing down that footage in post-production. But first, you actually have to adjust your settings in your camera. Now, this is actually the settings that I use when I want to slow down a footage. So to change your settings, what you need to do is go to Menu, Shooting Menu, Image Quality, Movie Settings, and for the rec frame rate, I choose 120p. And of course, for the record settings, I choose the highest bitrate. So like I said, when you're using 120p to record your footage, you gotta make sure that your shutter speed is double that. So I have to change it to 1 to 250th of a second. So just a heads up, if you are gonna use the 120p, Sony A7S III does not provide proxies for this setting. So let's go ahead and dive into Premiere Pro so I can show you how to slow down your footage. Okay, so here we are in Premiere Pro. As you can see here, I have two files. I actually captured this on our previous training. But as you can see here, the frame rate is 23.976. And of course, here's the 120 frames per second. So this first one right here is the S&Q mode, and which is right here. And this second one right here is the 120 frames per second. So if I play back the footage for the S&Q mode, as you can see, it's actually slowed down already. Now, if I play back the 120 frames per second, which I put it in a regular setting, as you can see, it's a little faster because my timeline right here is 24 frames per second. Now, if you want to slow down this footage, there are two ways that you could do this. The first way, which is the correct way, is you choose your clip, you right click, you go ahead and go to Modify and Interpret Footage. And then for this, assume this rate to 24 because that's our timeline, and press Enter. Now, if I play this back, actually I should render this so you guys, so there's no lag. Okay, so now that we're playing it back, you can see that the footage, it's slowed down. Now, the other way that you could slow down the footage is right click the clip and then go to speed duration. Since this footage was shot at 120, now if I want to match this on my timeline, I slow it down to 20%. And basically this is what it looks like. Now, in my previous video, I actually mentioned that I don't usually use the S&Q mode to slow down a footage because I usually apply speed ramp effects on some of my clips when I want to slow them down. Now, if you guys are interested in how to do a speed ramp, let me know in the comment section below, so I can make another video for that if you guys are really interested. Well, if you guys find this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified the next time I'm back online. And if you guys are interested in learning more about shutter speed or frame rates, or any type of camera basics, I actually have a playlist that you could check right here. And with that being said, I hope you guys like this video. Keep being creative, keep getting inspired, and I'm gonna see you guys on to the next one. Peace.